the time has come for us to configure the data center. We'll start with the switches, where we'll configure MC-LAG. Then we'll move out to the servers, where we'll configure bond interface. And after that, we'll move to our HA cluster, where we'll configure the cluster. Keep in mind that in order for the cluster to work correctly, the interfaces should be configured and connected in a specific way. On both FortiGates, we'll have a single lag configured on both cluster members. From the switch perspective, we'll have two lag interfaces. One interface which is going to HA1 from DC switch 1, and the second interface which is going from DC switch 2 to HA1. So basically these two interfaces from the switch point of view will perform as a single logical link. And these two interfaces from the DC switch perspective will perform as also a single logical link. So let's jump to the DC switches. This is the first time logging, so root no password. We will delete all the unneeded configuration, which is delete protocols, delete interfaces, delete chassis, auto image upgrade, and delete system processes, DHCP, DHCP service. And after that, we should commit the configuration, but keep in mind that in order to commit first time the configuration, you need to set a password. So let's also set the password, set system root authentication plain text password. The password is Juniper and password Juniper. Also, we set a host name. So this is switch 2. And now that we can commit. Moving to this one, we'll do the same thing. Delete protocols. Delete chassis auto image upgrade. Delete system processes DHCP service. And what else? And basically that's it. Now set system host name. This is switch 1. And set system root authentication plain text password with password Juniper. And commit. Now we will not see these annoying log messages, but let me check again if I missed something. Yeah, delete interfaces also. So commit. Okay. So now let's consult our build sheet and check the interfaces configuration. So basically, in order to configure MC-LAG, we'll need to have a aggregated interface between the two switches, which will act as a back-to-back link, and on top of which we'll configure the ICCP. So let's go to the DC switch 1. And let's add the interface configuration. Actually, let's first add the VLANs. So we will add the VLANs. We will add the A0 interface configuration. I will just copy paste them because this is not in the scope of our course, and I will just paste all the configurations in the resources tab. So now we have VLANs, we have interface A0 configured. We also add ICCP configuration, IRB interface, which will be used for ICCP, and I can go ahead and commit this config, and we can add also the configuration for this switch 2. So interfaces for A0 interface configuration, and I will have to manually configure the ICCP for this one, because set multi-chassis protection 3.3.3.1 interface A0. This is needed for MC-LAG and ICCP. Will enable aggregated devices again. And let's add the what configuration do we have here right now? So display set VLANs, we have interface A0, and we also need to add ICCP and IRB interface. So set interfaces IRB 500, family inet, address 3.3.3.2/24. Add the ICCP, set protocols ICCP, local address is 3.3.3.2, set protocols ICCP, peer is 3.3.3.1, and configure some parameters: session establishment time, redundancy group ID list, liveness detection minimum interval is 1000. Also configure liveness detection multiplier 3, and transmit interval minimum interval 900. Let's commit this, and let's try to pin the ICCP peer on this switch 1. Run show route, it is rejected. Show VLANs, we have added also the VLANs. Show interfaces, let's check the interfaces that we have here. So everything looks good. Show ICCP, show protocols ICCP. Here also looks good. And show route. So it's still rejected. And we have to figure out why it is rejected. Let's check the AE0 interface status. Run show LACP interface. So it is in detached state. And We don't show LACP interfaces. So display set, we seems to have missing configuration here, and indeed we have the A0 configuration missing from here, so we'll add it. And I will go back and try to ping our ICCP peer. And the ping works, which means that if I check the ICCP status, it is in progress. Let's give it some time to negotiate. And now show LACP interfaces. Okay, so they are in the correct state. Run show ICCP. It's in progress. Run show LACP interface, collecting, distributing. And let's check the route. And let's just ping our neighbor. Maybe it will speed up the ICCP. So everything is established and in up state. Okay. Now that we have added the ICCP, it's time for us to configure the MC-LAG. So what I will do, I will add the configuration which is facing the firewalls. And I will just copy paste the configuration, and I will explain you what was the logic here. See, status control active. I have to take smaller chunks of the configuration. Show display set. Let's check the configuration. So we have the A1 interface, which we talked about, and we have A2 interface, which we talked about. The VLANs we used because we need to have access to server 1, to server 2, and we also need to have, I will type here all, and we also need to have access to the internet, which will also come from the switches and go to the firewall. So basically the internet is VLAN 100, and I also should add here also 20, and here I should also add 10. Don't worry, you will have the document updated completely, so sorry for that. Okay, let me just commit the configuration and let me check again what it is, what it doesn't like, and what it is missing. So basically it says that it doesn't have a chassis ID and it doesn't have the mode. So let's check. So chassis ID for A1 and mode, let's copy it. And chassis ID and mode for A2. Let's commit. So multi-chassis protection link is not configured. So we'll take this and commit. Okay, so it is committed. Let's check again the configuration. And everything seems to be in parameters here. Let's move to this switch 2. and add the configuration also on this is switch 2. For A1 interface and also for A2 interface. And it seems that it did not copy it correctly. So load set terminal. And commit. Okay, now that the config is loaded, let's check the status of LACP interfaces. And you see that A0, which is back-to-back link or inter-chassis link, is collecting distributing, and A1 and A2 is in detached state. Now we can go to our Fortigate, but before let's check the build sheet. So we'll have a single log on both FortiGates with port 1 and 2. So if we go to HA1, which is our cluster master, it is enough that we configure everything that we need on a single FortiGate. The changes will be automatically propagated to HA2 also. So let's create a new interface. We'll call it log1. It's an aggregated interface with two members, port 1 and port 2. And it is not a LAN interface, we'll use undefined interface. We don't need the DHCP server, so we can go ahead and commit. Click OK, and let's refresh it, and we can see that our log interface is now up. So if we go back to our Juniper device and check again the LACP interfaces, you can see that the LACP is in collecting distributing, which means that it is up on this is switch 2. And if I check this is switch 1, the LACP is also in collecting distributing, which means that our MC-LAG is working fine. And I will see in the next lecture where we will configure the servers.